Hey, my love. Okay, so I had to pre-record this week's video because I did not have time to jump on and do a live, right? But I wanted to make sure that the information get out there. All right, so let me just say right now that there are going to be some things coming up in Aries season. And if you do not know, Aries season begins the new Zodiac calendar year. So it begins the start of the wheel all over again for the next 12 months. So the next 12, I want to say development of self, right? Because each month or each sign is an aspect of you. So each month or within each sign, you have an opportunity to know thyself, right? So we're closing out Pisces season. Pisces season ends next Wednesday, and next Thursday, we're going to be jumping into Aries season. So you can look forward to a video about that next week. All right. So this week in Astrology and Archetypes, we're going from this Thursday to next Thursday, which is the 14th to the 21st. All right. So let me just say, in case you didn't know how this works, okay? You know, as long as I've been on YouTube, I've always told you guys that you're responsible not just for mastering your particular zodiac sign, but for mastering the whole entire wheel, because you interact with these energies, which are archetypal energies, on a regular basis, right? So, for example, the moon transitions every 2.5 days into a new house or a new sign, right? A new sign. Now, the planet is going to represent the energy that's operating, right? The sign is going to represent the character or how to utilize the energy, okay? As well as maybe even how you've used that energy in past lifetime. The houses are going to represent the circumstances of your environment, okay? So we're going to just tackle some of those things as we're moving throughout this week so you can better understand why you can feel very loved and confident today, and then tomorrow you can feel like you just want to argue and fight, or why you encounter that energy from other people, all right? So I did a pre-poll as I was getting ready to record, and the overall energy within the pre-poll talked about trust. It talked about love, and it talked about being cautious, right? So let's just take a look at what the sun is. So the sun is in Pisces right now. Pisces is ruled by Neptune as well as co-ruled by Jupiter, right? So Neptune is one of your personal houses, and Jupiter is more of a social planet, right? So Neptune is a personal planet, and Jupiter is more of a social planet, right? So, you know, Neptune deals with your imagination and transcendence or illusion, right? Or not being able to get over things. Jupiter deals with growth, opportunity, and expansion, or no growth and maybe missing opportunities, okay? So this is the I want to say the energy that rules Pisces based on these planets, okay? So we got one more week of being in the energy of Pisces, with the sun being in Pisces. So you have an opportunity. It's either service or suffer, right? Or what sacrifices you may need to make on a personal level, all right? And I also like to say that Pisces energy can also bring in an aspect of not just awakening and illusion, but shape-shifting energy too is something that I can pick up within that Pisces energy. You can find the people who are shape-shifting throughout this energy, all right? So the moon is transitioning through 4 different signs until next Thursday, right? So while I'm recording this video, the moon is currently in Taurus, right? Now, Taurus rules second house energy, which is about your possessions, your money, and your finances, aka your stability, all right? Now, what you want to do within this Taurus energy, is the moon being in Pisces, you want to be mindful to slow down, be calm before you take action or before you respond to things, and pay attention to your basic needs. So don't be extravagant, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and with Venus, sometimes you can deal with pleasure and too much luxury, right? Like, so pay attention to your basic needs as you're moving throughout the transition of the moon, then moving into Gemini tomorrow, which is Friday, right? So the moon is going to be in Gemini from the 15th to the 16th. And a little bit of the 17th, okay? Transiting over a little bit of the 17th, so you want to be mindful of that. When we get into Gemini for Friday, Saturday, what you do, and maybe even a little bit of Sunday, what you do need to pay attention, and I think I'm saying that wrong. I think we flop over into Gemini later on this evening. Let me just check and make sure. Okay, so we're flipping over into Gemini at 3:16 a.m., okay, just depending on where you are. 3:16 a.m., I am on Eastern Standard Time. That's when we're going to be flipping over into Gemini. All right, so you want to be mindful. So collectively from the 15th and the 16th, while we're in Gemini, that's third house energy. So that's the house of communication, siblings, cousins, friendship, as well as the house of learning too, right? So be mindful of that. For the next 2 days, when your energy or the moon's energy is in Gemini, what you want to pay attention to is to verbal contracts. You want to pay attention to what you can learn, right? Pay attention to maybe even what you read, anything to do with paper contracts, anything that you're reading, or any type of information that's being exchanged electronically or digitally. You want to pay attention to that as we're moving throughout Gemini's energy, okay? Now, that's Friday, Saturday. And I want to say also, because that's Friday, Saturday, a lot of things has been happening politically, so you can probably see a lot of information being dropped in Friday's energy with that Gemini moon. You can probably see a lot of contracts, a lot of statements, and a lot of things happening in the political climate. I haven't really been paying attention to the news, so I don't know what's going on. I've kind of been paying attention to social media here in Georgia and what's going on in that climate, but I haven't been paying attention so much to the to news outside of Georgia that much, right? So if you're in Georgia, if you've been paying attention to a lot of the political climate that's happening in Georgia, be mindful that you can find some things coming down as far as information exchange or readings or briefs or things like that on the political or social climate, okay? So be mindful of that as we're moving throughout that Gemini energy, all right? Now, I also want to say too, when it comes to that Gemini energy, you want to be mindful within this Gemini energy to observe information before judging things. Get everything in totality. Be an independent thinker and an independent feeler before you make your mind up about something, right? The information is going to be absorbed easily and intuitively, but you really need to be an independent thinker as you're moving throughout this climate that we're in right now, because the world is going through mass chaos. So it's important for you to be able to think for yourself, and it's important for you to be able to feel for yourself, and then your thinking and your feeling is going to produce an action, which is then going to produce an outcome, okay? So be mindful of that. Now, when we transition over from Gemini into Cancer, and we're flipping over to Cancer on Sunday around 9:40 a.m. on Sunday, okay? So when we flip over into Cancer's energy on Sunday into Monday, right? You're going to be in Cancer energy Sunday, Monday, and a bit of Tuesday, like most of the day of Tuesday, right? You want to be mindful because Cancer's energy is third house energy. Fourth house energy, okay? Fourth house energy deal with your home, it deal with your family, or it deals with the origin of who makes you who you are, okay? Now, when you move over into that energy coming into Cancer on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, what you're going to feel energetically from an emotional standpoint of view, one is you may feel the need to pay attention to your emotions. There could be a lot of family dynamics happening within those 3 days, so you do want to be mindful to stop, think, feel before taking action, okay? But although you may be involved in a lot of family dynamics in those 3 days, what you're going to definitely need to utilize is your me time. Make sure that you block out some space for me time within those 3 days, because that energy could become or feel a little overwhelming, right? So while we're transitioning into that moon energy in Cancer, the need for security, okay, which means AKA you may need to tap into having a little space or getting your own space, but you also may feel the need to protect and nurture not just yourself but other people. So if you are a people pleaser, or if you feel you have a lot of family dynamics, or you're the person that kind of keeps the family together, don't forget to portion out some me time as we are shifting energy into the moon being in Cancer on Sunday, Monday, and most of the day on Tuesday, because we flop over into Leo's energy late Tuesday evening around 7:30 p.m. or 7:33 p.m. On Tuesday. Now, when we get into Leo's energy for Tuesday evening, Wednesday, and all of Thursday, what you're going to feel when you shift over into fifth house energy, this overwhelming sense of creativity, maybe even romance, and maybe even for those of you that have the bug or have the fever for children, you can find that you're daydreaming about kids. And for those of you that have children, you may find that some attention within those 3 days may have to be given to your kids, okay? And I want to say to the teachers out here that are dealing with kids, within this Leo energy, just be mindful to breathe. Okay, just be mindful to breathe. All right, because within this Leo energy, a lot of this energy, it is playful energy, it is creative energy, but this energy can also have the dynamic of other people wanting to be the center of attention. So just be mindful of that if you're a teacher. Just a lot of these younger, immature children may have temper tantrums because there is a big sense of wanting to be the center of attention as the moon transits over into Leo late Tuesday evening, and all of Wednesday and all of Thursday. Now, the sun moves from Pisces into Aries on Thursday. So when we meet up again next Thursday, we're going to jump into a lot of what's going to be happening within that Aries archetype and that energy in which you can look forward to for the month, right? So don't forget, playful energy once we get to fifth house energy, which rules creativity, romance, and children. All right, so you're either going to feel the need to be praised and loved within this Leo energy, or you're going to or maybe even creative, or you may have the urge to support other people in their creativity. Now, this energy in Leo's with the moon being in Leo, you can find a lot of the narcissistic type people thriving. So if you are an archetype of a giver and not a taker, just be mindful to the taker energy that's around you, okay? You might want to just fortify yourself, all right, between the late Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because that energy can tend to be very narcissistic driven for some people that are not doing their work emotionally. Okay, so be mindful of that. All right, so you know how we do these readings, my love. We are going to take a look at energetically what you may need to pay attention on a mental level, okay, because that's your masculine, that's your logic, your decision making, your intellect energy for the week. And then we're going to pay attention also to your feminine energy, which has to do with your imagination, your creativity, and your emotion or lack of. Okay, so remember, the goal here in this energy is independent thinking and independent feeling. All right, now you want to apply everything I told you, because you are not just responsible for your sun sign, the month that you were born, or the sign that you was born under, but you want to pay attention also to the whole Zodiac Wheel, because you are interacting with each of these energies that influence you at least minimum every 2.5 days, okay? So as we are closing our Pisces season, you need to be mindful of things that this week in particular, because you're setting up to start off Aries season, and Aries season is the energy of self. Okay, this is first house energy, and it has to do with yourself and your self-development, your personality. This is all about redefining yourself of who you want to show the world you are within this next 12 month cycle. Okay, so there's going to be energy this week that you need to be mindful of, the flowers of life. Paying attention to yourself, your inspirations, your dreams, okay, your aspirations. Pay attention to that this month, especially as you're transiting through all of these different archetypal energy in the moon, right? Be able to be flexible, but you also want to set up some type of movement, and you also want to set up some type of, and even if you're not physically taking action, you at least want to write your notes down, write things down, map it out so you can have a guide of how to get you from point A to point C, okay? But it's important for you to pay attention to the things that inspire you this week, okay? Your dreams. Whether it could be something as simple as creating a new recipe. It could be something as simple as changing your lifestyle, eating habits, becoming more healthy and working out, going after your dream as an entrepreneur. Whatever that is, be mindful that you can kind of start to set that up as we're moving throughout the week, because once we get to Thursday, that energy from Aries can inspire you to really get the bigger picture of things. So start jotting things down, start sitting and feeling, what inspires you, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what may need to change in your experience, okay? And I want to say new perspectives, be open to new perspectives if you're going through this week, right? So remember, we're now going to be shifting from the energy of Pisces, which is 12th house energy, into the energy of Aries on Thursday, which is first house energy. And this is all about your self-development. This is all about your personality, okay? This is all about you being able to tap into the truth about who you are. So allow yourself to be inspired. Instead of getting angry and frustrated this week, I'm going to tell you, instead of getting angry and frustrated this week, pay attention to how you feel in particular situations, particular conversations, right? And see what needs to be adjusted in those situations of conversation, what needs to be embraced, right? What needs to be let go, and maybe what needs to grow, okay? So try not to take things personal this week. Try to really take things this week as it unfolds into an aspect of maybe learning, okay? And checking off what works and what doesn't, okay? So as you're moving throughout this week, this can be a week of being able to let things flow. I said not allowing yourself to take it personally. Paying attention to what feels comfortable and what doesn't. Paying attention to the sweeter things in life and not so much the bitter. Letting go of a lot of the things that you cannot change is going to be needed as you're hopping over into Aries season. So that's going to be important, all right? So remember, think about what you really want to make an impact in this next 12 months, okay? So we're starting anew. This is the energy that's going to help you to cultivate getting from point A all the way to point Z within this next transit change next Thursday. And then we have a wonderful eclipse coming on up in April, which is going to be major shift, a major change of energy. And I've been telling you guys since I jumped back on here, right? This ain't the energy for you to abuse your power, whether it's personal power against other people, because you abuse your power in the workplace, whether it's abusing the power financially, whether it's abusing the power politically, whether it's abusing the power judicially. This is not the season. I don't care who you are, and I don't care your title, okay? Energetically, this is not the energy for you to misuse your power, okay? So allow things to flow as you're moving throughout this week, all right? Think about new perspectives. Think about the bigger picture, all right? Think about the bigger picture. Think about what needs to stay and what needs to go as you're coming into this new energy, okay? You also want to think about, and let me see something here, because if I'm not mistaken, we may be going into, let's look at the current chart here. Okay. We're going into retrograde energy coming up on April 1st, okay? So you might find a lot of things are circling back, or a lot of people may be circling on back within this retrograde energy, okay? Especially when it comes to people that you may have felt like you had a connection with. So be mindful of that, especially when you're figuring out what stays and what goes in your experience, okay? This week you can find again that family, the home, and what you committed yourself to may be at the forefront, right? But once again, think about, instead of taking things personal, think about the lessons you can get from the experiences this week, okay? That's going to be important, especially when it comes to dealing with the family and the home, okay? Now, I want to say this is really the season where you start to integrate everything that you've learned, okay? Because Pisces energy is about understanding. So Pisces is sometimes known as a dustpan of the zodiac sign, because you have from Aries all the way down to Pisces to figure out who you are, right? So by the time you get to Pisces, you're either going to be able to use acts of service, okay, or use your gifts, you know, step into a higher level of awakening, step into a higher level of transcendent past things that may have you in shackles, or have you depressed, or have you overwhelmed, or you can create illusions and shapeshift through things and not deal with things at all, okay? So Pisces is ending out a 12-month cycle, all right? So pay attention to that as you are ending this 12-month cycle and stepping into a whole new energy for the next 12 months, okay? So it's about integrating what you've learned, especially around family and the home and commitments, right? You don't want to rush into commitments without really taking everything into totality and seeing what may work best for you now and what doesn't. So don't overcommit yourself, okay? And especially to people that you feel like you're connected to on a deeper level, okay? Sometimes we want to be able to make, you know, the people that we love happy, but that can also come with at your own detriment, right? Because you don't take you into consideration. So you need to be mindful of that as you're moving throughout this week, okay? Being able to move, also taking yourself into consideration, because we're going to be stepping into that self-defining energy next Thursday as we step into Aries season, okay? Stability, harmony, and being able to allow things to flow. The energy of letting things flow is popping up twice this week, and that lets me know that instead of reacting, you might want to step back, think, feel, and then take action, okay? Because your thoughts and your emotions are going to produce an action, and that action is going to produce an outcome. You're always operating in the 4 elements, okay? Air, thoughts; water, emotions; fire, action; and earth, energy, the physical aspect, the manifestation of things, okay? So be mindful about that. You may find as you were stepping into this week, things from the past, especially to deal with family, the home, and things that you've committed to, they circle back, especially people that you may be tied to on a soul level. For some of you, this is even your gifts, okay? For some of you, this is even your gifts that you may have kind of shoved down and pushed aside because you had to take care of family things. You had to take care of the home. You may not have felt like you could commit yourself wholeheartedly to this one particular aspect where your purpose is concerned, because you had all of these other things to do. This is energy coming in right now where you can find ways to integrate all of that, right? Where you can find ways to connect all of that and pace yourself, right? Now, stability is going to be important, especially when we are coming into or coming out of this moon energy in Taurus. Pretty much, even when you step into Gemini's energy, this is an energy of really being able to exchange information, right? So you want to make sure that you're open to other people's opinions about things, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. And maybe open may not be the right word. I want to say maybe be in a place where you're willing to listen, right? Where you're willing to at least allow someone else to get their point of view across. You don't necessarily have to agree with them, but you want to set the tone where there's open communication and open dialogue, right? So don't be so stiff and just wanting to get your point off, just wanting to be heard, that you're not allowing other people to be heard, right? You may need this week to agree to disagree, okay? as you're moving throughout this week. You may need to agree to disagree as you're moving throughout things this week. Remember, overall energy this week is really finding a new perspective in things, okay? Like I said, you are entering energy where you get to start anew, okay? And when you start anew, some of the old things can't come with you, especially if they don't serve you anymore, right? Messages will be coming in this week, and I find like you can find a lot of dialogue happening, especially dialogue. So let's just say this. There's going to be a lot of dialogue happening this week, especially as we're in Gemini's energy, a lot of communication happening. And a lot of it could be around friends and family and home things, right? Now, wish fulfilled is going to be happening this week. Now, let me explain to you how that works. When wishes are fulfilled, right, that has a lot to do with your conversations that you've been having with yourself about yourself, or conversations that you've been having with yourself about the outcome of a particular thing. So be mindful of that, right? So wish fulfilled doesn't necessarily mean something beautiful and something positive and something uplifting if your perception of that thing is negative, is depressive, right? And is energy of failing, okay? Or an energy of lack, okay? So whether you're vibrating on an energy of lower vibrational with lack and victimhood and not being enough and not having enough is what you're projecting outwardly, wish fulfilled is going to fulfill those things, which means that you're going to have more experiences that's reinforcing that lack or that self-doubt or that insecurity that you have not shifted internally about, okay? And wish fulfilled can happen on the other aspect too, where you've been thinking about whatever situation on a positive note. Remember, as within, so without. So whatever you're vibrating to the tune of internally is what's going to be expressed in your external experience. So be mindful of that, right? So if there's any fear, any doubt, any maybe temptation of lack in your mind, these are things that you want to work on, whether it's via information, getting more information about the thing on a positive note, whether it's accepting something that you need to accept, whether it's facing a fear that you need to face, whatever that is, you need to be mindful of that, okay? You can have energy of people matching your energy this week, all right? So just be mindful of that too. What you put out is what you're going to get back, all right? So don't take people's outbursts personally, right? Because a lot of people are not dealing with this energy that we're in on a collective stream well. A lot of people just not dealing well energetically with the energy that we have coming in. Pay attention to the areas in your life this week where you feel the need to take control out of fear and work on those things, okay? Also pay attention to other people's tactics as they may be utilizing fear and manipulation to get what they want, okay? Especially when it comes to dealing with family this week. That's going to be important, okay? Work your self-alchemy this week and pay attention to your guides and to your ancestors. Everything that you need is within, right? Alchemy has to do with you being able to transmute a particular emotion or a particular thought and flip it into something that really serves you at a higher level versus something that's not going to serve you at a lower vibrational level, okay? So self-alchemy is going to be important, which means that you may have to tell yourself what to think this week, because those thoughts that's been replaying in your mind and those conversations that you've been having with yourself don't really match the outcome that you want to experience. So you may have to do some self-alchemy in your thoughts as well as in your emotions as you're moving out this week, all right? And I want to say, as we're closing off, coming into Aries season on Thursday, you may want to pay attention to your gifts. You may want to begin to start celebrating the things that you're good at naturally. You may want to start looking at things from a level of abundance, right? Aries energy also ushers in spring. So it's an energy where you can plant anew, where you can experience anew, where you don't necessarily have to allow the dead things to come into your new experience. So be mindful of that as you're moving throughout this energy. All right, so let's just recap, okay? We're going to recap. Remember, I said planetary energy has to deal with the energy that's operating. And right now, the energy that's operating planetary-wise is Pisces. That's 12th house energy. It's an energy of service or sacrifice, but it can also be an energy where you are transcending past things and you're awakening to higher levels within your spirituality. Or it could be an energy where you're still operating from a place of illusion, which is not far-fetched because the world is going through mass chaos. And this is energy also that could be kind of like shape-shifting. Now, I don't know if shape-shifting is necessarily a bad thing, but shape-shifting, depending on the vibrationally where you are, you can find that people use that shape-shifting energy to manipulate people or to promote fear, right? So just be mindful of that, right? So Pisces is also ruled by Neptune. Neptune rules your imagination as well as transcending past things, but it's also co-ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter expands things. It's the planet of growth, and it's also the planet of opportunity. So take the opportunity from now until next Wednesday to really pay attention to what you want within the next 12 months when Aries energy ushers in and creates a new energy of new beginnings for you, okay? So as we're moving throughout the week, we got third house energy popping up in Gemini from the 15th to early the 17th. So that energy has to deal with communication, siblings, cousin, friends type energy. What you do need to be mindful of as we're moving through Gemini is pay attention to any verbal contracts. So you don't want to necessarily agree to things that you're uncertain of, all right? Make sure that you think and you feel before you commit yourself to anything verbally. It's also energy within those 2.5 days where you can learn a lot. Be prepared maybe to read a lot. This could be a lot of digital communication. But it's also going to be an energy of information exchange as you're moving throughout the Gemini's energy between the 15th to early on the 17th. So be mindful of that, all right? Once we flip over into Cancer's energy, you're going to find that the energy comes out of Gemini where you might be a little bit more in your head in that Gemini energy. Now you're a little bit more in your heart or emotional energy because you're going to flip over into Cancer's energy from the 17th to late the 19th, okay? And that Cancerian energy is water energy, so it has more to do with emotions. So you want to pay attention to your emotions. Within that energy, while the moon is in Cancer, you can find that security as well as family things may pop up, or the need to protect yourself or nurture yourself for some people is going to be important, all right? And be mindful because sometimes that Cancer energy can really be an energy of victimhood. So you want to be mindful not to step over into victimhood as we're transiting through that energy, all right? Feel what you feel. Don't ignore how you feel, and then you want to pay attention to what you're thinking about that feeling. Your emotions are supposed to be indicators to help you to navigate through things. Your emotions are not supposed to control you, okay? So be mindful of that. Feel what you feel, and then you want to allow your emotions to help you navigate through whatever situation that feeling may be triggering or bringing to the forefront, okay? Now, as we are shifting over into Leo's energy, which is fifth house energy, creativity, romance, and children, but it can also be on the lower vibration end of things. It can also usher in some narcissistic type energy. And we all have an opportunity to be a little bit narcissistic if we don't check ourselves, all right? So that energy could be very playful and creative and fun loving energy, but it also may be energy where you can find people maybe a little bit needy and feel the need to be praised and loved. Some people can definitely utilize this energy to be very creative, especially if you're a teacher. Like I said, you want to be mindful if you're a teacher and working with children on a little bit more immature side, to know that you could be dealing with a lot of narcissistic energy where they feel the need to have all of the attention. They may not know what that is, but they may feel the need to have all the attention. But you can also feel when the moon flips over into Leo between the 19th and the 21st, you may also feel the need to be more supportive or supportive towards other people in their creative projects, okay? So, as we're moving throughout this week, y'all, we're ending out the Zodiac calendar year. Pisces is just about done next week, right? Pay attention to what inspires you this week. Pay attention to your dreams, okay? And this could be maybe actual dreams when you go to sleep, or dreams as far as what you inspire and your goals, okay? You also want to be mindful to stay excited this week, right? Because we're switching over into new energy, which is going to give you an opportunity to do new things, all right? You also want to make sure that you're assessing things as well as looking at things from a new perspective, because we are going into new energy, right? So this is an opportunity for you to spring forward. Allow your emotions to be indicators, to navigate you through things, right? Do not allow your emotions to take over and control you, where you're spazzing out and you're not able to be emotionally mature, all right? Whoever controls you mentally and emotionally controls your actions, your outcomes. So you want to be mindful of that, all right? Now, with that being said, my love, I'm going to see you guys back here next Thursday. Oh, next Thursday starts also 100 days in, what did I call it? It's 100 days. We're going to be going through 100 days of mental Reiki starting next Thursday, which is the 21st, okay? So it's going to be 100 days of mental Reiki, and we're going to be going through how you can literally be able to change your mental energy as well as your emotional energy, so your actions and your outcomes can align with what you truly desire, right? And what you may find as we're transiting through this 100 days is that some of the things that you desire may not have been at the highest vibration, right? So you may find that you have to change some of your desires because they no longer align with what you truly want, okay? So this is going to bring you to a place where you may have to face some things, you may have to deal with some things, you may have to embrace some things, you may have to let go of some things, you may have to cry about some things, right? But starting next Thursday, for the next 100 days, we're going to be doing mental Reiki. And this is just to help launch us into a newness with this new Aries energy coming in, and especially with this big eclipse that we have coming on up in April. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we get to next Thursday, okay? Well, my loves, I've missed you guys. I'm happy to be back. I'm still trying to figure out my flow, right? And I got some new things coming up, but I really don't want to talk about them until it's time to actually push the go button. And hopefully that's going to be next week. So I'm super excited about that. All right. So you know the deal, okay? You want to do something kind for yourself, all right? You might even want to do something kind for somebody else. Not so much because they deserve it, but because you could, right? And the world is going through mass chaos, and you cannot allow other people to dictate who you are, right? It's time for us to be independent thinkers and independent feelers, and allow our thoughts and our emotions to navigate us through this climate, instead of allowing it to take over where we're stuck and we can't find our way out, okay? Hi, my beautiful love. I'm going to see you next week's video. You have a wonderful, wonderful week, and love yourself. Bye, my loves.